risen to the rank of additional DG, which means that promotional avenues for the cadre officers have enhanced. As we all know, there was a problem of militancy in Punjab, and I was assigned. And after this commando assignment, I was briefly with the SPG for 1 year. Came to Samba as this was the time when the Samba, the 200 kilometers of borders with Pakistan in Jammu area became extremely hot. I can say that I have lived a whole life in my career.
All right, sir. So the next question is, so how is the relation with the state police, both at low ranks and higher ranks? Any possibility of CAPF officers being deputed to the state police or armed forces at higher levels? And if yes, what are the pros and cons?
Relations are professional, and if the relations, if there are good personal relations, the results are even much better. So it depends how often you are interacting with state police. It depends on that. Police works according to their set of law. We have certain other priorities which may not gel. So उसमें conflict कई times होता है, but then those conflicts can be resolved, managed by personal interaction. So which is very important. जो हमारी ego issues होते हैं, वो those have to be set aside. Ego issues by us, ego issues by police have to be set aside. Insofar as deputing our officers to state armed forces concerned, many states in say Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Odisha have our officers deployed or on deputation as SP operations. At higher level, abhi nahi hai utne, because higher level posts nobody would like to give. Like we are resenting our higher level posts being usurped by police. So they would also not like their higher level. But it will be good if interchange takes place between the two organizations. Our officers go to police at different levels. Their officers come to our organizations at different level, including that of company commander. We'll be able to develop better understanding.
Okay, so the next question is, so that we hear about intelligence failures every now and then and causing loss of lives. So at the same time, every force has its intelligence wing, be it the army, the CAPFs, or police, as well as IB. So how is the coordination among these departments for the intelligence gathering and sharing? And what reforms are needed to ensure that we have effective intelligence in place?
You see, I'll refer to Group of Ministers report again. For the borders, respective border guarding forces have been designated as the lead intelligence agencies. So the task being to coordinate the intelligence efforts of various agencies operating in those areas. इसके लिए periodic meetings होती हैं और coordination किया जाता है. Intelligence failure occurs because of our inability to discern the pattern. We have bits and pieces of information, and we need experts to put the puzzle together. Otherwise, ये फिर intelligence failures होते रहेंगे. And there's another thing कि everyone wants to inform their bosses first before informing the local organizations, local people operating on the ground. So all that one-upmanship has to be removed. We have to discern a pattern instead of feeding raw information to them. And we have to be more specific on certain aspects of intelligence. Otherwise, the failures फिर होते रहेंगे. Some failures of intelligence, some failure of operation, these keep happening and causing great loss to the organizations.
True that, sir. So the next question is, what all things must an assistant commandant do right in order to reach the level of ADG as you did? And what are the mistakes that usually happens, which we should take care about?
Firstly is I would not I would like to be frank on this, that not everyone can reach this level. I was fortunate that I had nobody younger to me above me. Okay. And there being only one post of additional DG, I could go on. Had there been a officer younger to me and senior to me, I wouldn't have reached there. So that is there. It is not time scale as in police or as in some other services. So firstly, join young. Secondly, discipline is extremely important. One has to lead a disciplined life. Disciplined life doesn't mean that you bend over backwards. You follow your principles, do your work, don't indulge in any kind of say corrupt activities, because those are the hindrances. Those will stop even the brightest people from rising. So, and learn the tricks of the trade. Get a wide, many people try to lagao political approach to get a posting to Delhi or to a certain place. तो वो ठीक है, दिल्ली में मिल जाएगी. I had a batchmate who tried to get a posting somewhere. He was posted, but the concerned officer wrote it in his ACR that he used a political approach. So that is not a very good thing. So one has to maintain those protocols. Remember that a senior officer has should not behave like a senior officer, but junior officers must always behave like junior officers. I mean, not that he should not express himself. He should express himself. He should express his logical views, but he should not think that he is the decision maker. जो उनका view होगा वही implement होगा. Because at senior level there are several other factors to be considered. You are giving one input. The senior officer must be getting input from several other places. So if your view is not accepted, it doesn't mean that you are in bad books or something के आप जाके बाहर बोलना शुरू कर दो कि हमारी तो बात ही नहीं सुनते या कुछ. So that is not the case, because at senior levels one has to consider several aspects and there are several inputs. So all those things. So to reach senior levels, as I said, be a professional. To say this in 3 words, be a professional.
All right. So next I will be coming on the career prospects of newly appointed DAGOs. So any advices for them and any suggestions to improve, how they can improve their efficiency in different roles they would be familiarizing themselves to in near future.
So career progression, as I said, we have a steep pyramid. So not everyone can reach higher levels, but I think if intake is rational, if intake for a cadre strength of 4,000 remains in the range of say 100 or so, everyone can become commandant, at least DIGs also. हमारी organization में 150 DIG की पोस्टें हैं. So if at least DIG बन सकते हैं, and NFFU will benefit them financially. So career progression that way is there. But कहीं 300 vacancy 300 officer ले लिए हैं तो उनका तो career blocked है ना. So one has to be fortunate, one has to be lucky also कि उसके ऊपर का batch कैसा कितना बड़ा था या younger कितने थे या वगैरह. So that is their career progression slowly has improved for me. When I had joined, as I said, I wouldn't have thought of going beyond the level of commandant. I became additional DG. So ऐसे improve होते रहते हैं. But that is what was the other part of your question?
So how suggestions about how they can improve their efficiency in different roles they'll be playing.
So know your men. When you are commanding your company, know your men. When you are commanding your battalion, know your battalion. Learn the procedures. When you go to the units, read manuals. BSF में हर branch के लिए manual है, operational manual, training manual, provisioning manual. Read our act and rules, and read otherwise. Get a horizon. When you when you are in a set of amongst a set of officers of other organization, you are able to project an intelligent point of view, which is a problem with many of us. We are unable to. We don't read. We don't try to improve our personalities. BOPs पे हम ऑल राइट ऑपरेशन तो करना ही है, बट थोड़ा एक आधा घंटा 2 घंटा इन चीजों में भी हमें लगाना चाहिए, व्यतीत करना चाहिए, so that our overall personality improves. If we have a horizon, if we know about functioning of other organization, we'll be able to include good points of those of the functioning of those organization in our situation. So that is what I can suggest.
All right, sir. So next is, sir, how are the deputation opportunities and what are the things to ensure that we get deputed to our desired forces like NSG, NIA, intelligence, RAW, IB, etc. And foreign postings opportunities?
Foreign postings are very few. When the contingents go to Congo or Haiti or those UN contingent, then you can go. So for which there's an elaborate selection procedure prescribed by United Nations, जिसकी I think training वगैरह ITBP में देते हैं. So that is one, foreign assignments. NSG of course takes officers regularly. One has to be physically very fit for those. At different levels, commandant DIG के level पे भी जाते हैं वहाँ पे deputation में. Similarly in SPG, assistant commandants, deputy commandants के level पे जाते हैं. Other deputations are in trickle. Not many opportunities are available. But then some keep coming, and if you are eligible according to the conditions laid down by them, in fact, one way of improving career progression is through deputations, which the organization has to think of, which is not within us to do, which the policy making people have to think of.
That's a very insightful answer, sir. So next is, what are the possibilities of an Indian Armed Police Service or CAPF merging with the CSE? Will IAPS or CAPS, that is Central Armed Police Services, tag, will that ever be becoming a reality?
You mean to say that a BSF officer gets deputed to CRPF and vice versa, etc., etc.? You are referring to that?
So that is one aspect of this, definitely. And so I'm talking about the umbrella services, that is after OGS getting materialized in reality. Means we'll be grouped up in as part of one particular service, that is Central Armed Police Service kind of thing.
I mean, if it happens, it is very good. It hasn't happened so far. At least 20 साल पहले तक तो UPSC भी इन्वॉल्व नहीं होती थी. 20 नहीं तो 2002, 3, 4 के बाद से हुआ है UPSC के साथ इन्वॉल्व होना. So maybe sometimes in future it may happen, but UPSC में अपनी फिजिक्स की रट्टा मार के ये क्या अचीव हो जाता है? I become या MBBS करके I become an IPS officer. How is my medical profession helping in my duties as a police officer? So I mean, the country has to think of a system where we start, like NDA, they start developing military leadership from the पहले तो 10th से ही होता था, अब तो 12th से करते हैं. They take people young. I mean, I think something similar perhaps can be done. I would go on to say, to the extent of saying that all direct recruitment of officers should stop. They should be taken, everyone should be taken at the lowest level in an organization, serve there for 3 years, appear in a competitive test, those eligible, get into a middle rung level like SIs, सिपाही भर्ती हुआ 3 साल नौकरी करी, जो एलिजिबल हैं जिनको certain competencies are set, they appear for a test for SI. SI में हुए जो कुछ competency set करी, उनको फिर they become AC. So they have experience at the ground level, they have experience at the middle level, and then they become officers and then they get promoted. जो हमारे LDC की system है हमारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में भी लिमिटेड डिपार्टमेंटल एग्जामिनेशन का जो है, द ब्रिटिश पुलिस हैज दिस सिस्टम. ही इज द चीफ कांस्टेबल, लंदन का चीफ कांस्टेबल है. ही जॉइंस एज अ कांस्टेबल, बिकम प्रमोट्स, गेट्स प्रमोटेड. तो सिमिलर केस शुड बी फॉर आईपीएस, सिमिलर शुड बी फॉर आईएएस. वो पहले आए नीचे तहसीलदार बने, 3 साल तहसीलदारी करे, फिर उसके बाद जो एसडीएम वगैरह बने, फिर उसको by the time he has put in 8-10 years at these lower levels, he will know the ground reality, he will know the problem. अभी क्या होता है, एक परफंक्ट्री 6 महीने 4 महीने वहां पर वो अटैचमेंट हो जाती है और काम खत्म हो जाता है. they don't know the ground realities. So I think that should be, for all organizations this should happen.
Definitely. So that would be a very ideal case. In fact, all the officers would be well connected with the ground.
हाँ, बड़ा मुश्किल है. हमारे जो vested interest हैं, वो नहीं होना चाहेगा ना ऐसा.
All right, sir. So the next question is about the lot of negativity being spread about CAPFs among the students as well as social media, sometimes among the selected candidates also. So the non-priority of CAPF as career is also seen in the data of candidates not joining and attrition. So what do you think should motivate students to pursue a career in CAPF, and why should CAPF be on their preference list?
CAPF are the biggest employer after Indian Army and Indian Railways perhaps. And security is something which cannot be overlooked. Security में हमेशा employment opportunities रहेंगी. So number one, attraction to join the CAPF is that this is a government service with a job security. So that is number one attraction for everyone to join. To further improve that image, we need to ensure that working conditions, service conditions are gradually improved everywhere. So we must have better promotional avenues, if not better promotional avenues, appropriate or proportionate monetary compensation has to be there, possibilities of a family life. So if you're not able to give accommodation to a Jawan in the battalion headquarters, he should be given HRA, etc. of the place of his residence. Education के लिए जिससे कि he can keep his family at one place and educate his children. So all those benefits if given, and also the CPMF officers must be taken on deputation to various organizations, especially for example BSF है तो customs में, immigration में, intelligence में, which have to do with the border area. उन organizations में deputation में जाना चाहिए so that they develop insight into the functioning of these other organizations. So इस तरह से इसको improve करने की जरूरत है. Comparison with IPS creates the difficulty. So that should not happen. हमारी service conditions हैं, उन service conditions को improve करने की कोशिश करनी चाहिए. We should not compare ourselves with IPS or even with the Indian Army. उनकी अपनी सर्विस कंडीशन है, हमारी अपनी सर्विस कंडीशन है. So that is what I think.
Of course, a very nice answer. So now I'll be moving to the next question. That's about your book. So in your book, The Eyes and Ears of India, you try to highlight the work and operations of CAPFs. CAPF do a lot of work, and not much is into the public domain. Do they get the publicity, the PR they deserve? And what do you understand the role of officers and citizens in increasing the reach of CAPFs? What more can be done?
My book is particular to BSF. I've written about BSF, what BSF does, what BSF has done in the past operations, in the 71 war, in the Kargil war, and internal security. So I agree with your point of view that BSF is hardly known in areas outside where it is deployed. या जहां पर किसी एक व्यक्ति की पोस्टिंग हो सिलेक्शन हो गया, so some of them may know about it. So we need to highlight our achievements, our way of functioning, our operational conditions. We need to sort of invest in educating public about this. So this book of mine is one step in this direction. Many more such books should come out. Similarly, about other organizations, I've been requesting officers from other organizations to write about their organizations on similar lines. So that is one. We should also get more visibility in social media, like the effort you are doing. I think it is a commendable effort that for general public, you are trying to educate about CAPFs. Except that थोड़ा सा हम technical होते जा रहे हैं, थोड़ा सा, I mean, for general public, many of the issues that we have discussed may not be important. This is how we can do. We need to invest more in educating. अब कहीं भी कुछ border पे operation होता है तो आर्मी ने ये किया, भाई आर्मी ने नहीं किया, borders पे BSF है. So our PRO should be more proactive. That also is a requirement. वो भी नहीं है. The local PROs must be more proactive. The local commandants, we should not place unnecessary restrictions on our subordinate officers to interact with press or media. Anything positive should be delegated to the lowest level to highlight. Anything negative, yes, restrictions should be there. So this is how we can do it. We must tell public more about our organization through books, through literature, through the videos of the like you are making, through appearances on television media and other social media. So that is what I think should be done.
All right, sir. So next is, sir, you have come forward very vocally for the rights of CAPFs, and many others also have. But many of our own cadre officers leave CAPFs to their plight, maybe due to the fear of retribution. So what motivates you, and what message would you like to give to retired CAPF cadre officers and IPS officers served in the CAPFs?
Tricky question. You see, it is up to one's. कोई बंदा कैसे सोचता है. I have always thought that I have joined the service at a little more than 21 years of age, and having served for so long, I must get to the top. Nahi hua, that's a different issue. So I have always thought on those lines, and I have always therefore been trying to achieve that aim. Other officers, the retired officers, must come out vocally about what is happening and what should be done. I think we have some people trying to do that in different areas. CRPF के कई officers हैं, हमारे भी एक दो officers हैं, may not be that. So किसको कैसे क्या करना है, I cannot impose, but it is self-motivation that has to work, and serving officers within the limits of discipline imposed on them, within the limits of discipline necessary for them, should project their grievances at various forums in an appropriate manner. So, as I said, things have improved from 77 till the time I retired. Slowly, things will further improve. Working conditions, living conditions. What happens is that we only focus on promotional avenues. We also have to think of the lower levels. We also have to think of the living conditions. We also have to invest in improving operational conditions. We also have to think of being deployed on the ground, what kind of technology, simple technologies that can be used. We have to encourage that innovativeness amongst the troops, amongst our officers also. Everyone has a view which should be encouraged so that he expresses that view.
All right, sir. So the journey from assistant commandant to additional director general is a long one, full of so many life experiences, from proud moments of serving the nation to tough calls in life to so many sacrifices. In this lifelong journey, do you have any regrets, like any tough call or judgment on duty that was sometimes less ethical? And what suggestions or advice would you give to us, the upcoming assistant commandants, to deal with those tough calls which you had to take on duty?
Less ethical? No, actually, Patani, I've never been confronted with a situation where I've been asked to do anything illegal or unethical. I have never been asked to do that, nor have I asked this of my juniors to do. So I have never faced that dilemma, fortunately. I don't know why. Many people do. Many people perhaps willingly do that to please their bosses, but somehow I haven't had that experience. Nobody asked me. I have no regrets insofar as my professional journey has been concerned. I've had, in spite of whatever, I've had fruitful tenures at various places. I've had good operational experience. I've had good instructional experience, and whatever administrative experience, administrative assignments I had, that also were very good. So I haven't had, I mean, I wouldn't say that I have regretted my journey through these over 38 years of service.
Any political interference?
Political, no, never. CPMF in that way are very well protected from political interference. We, unlike police who directly come under the political bosses, we have never had to face any such. So this is one major advantage from functioning of police in the CPMF, that we normally don't get any political interference. Yeah, so I haven't had any such thing to deal with.
All right, sir. So now the last and final question for this session. So what, according to you, is a realistic future for Central Armed Police Forces, and particularly the assistant commandants joining right now, looking at the next 3 or 4 decades? Do you see the graph going up? And if yes, then how fast it is going to rise?
See, CPMF दो चीजें हैं. Our training orientation is एक गोली एक दुश्मन. We slowly need to change that to use of minimum force on the borders as well as in the internal security. We need to change our orientation to that. You see, we cannot have a situation of perpetual unrest on the borders. We have the unfortunate distinction of Indo-Pakistan and Indo-Bangladesh borders being amongst the 10 most dangerous borders of the world. We cannot have a situation perpetually. Slowly and steadily, peace has to prevail on those borders, and therefore the security forces training and methodology has to change from ek goli ek dushman to use of minimum force. Not all is within the hands of the organization. For this, the government also has to act by creating infrastructure on the borders so that the life of the border population improves. They become well integrated with the general public all over the country. They acquire proper skills for getting employment. This is the problem, especially on the eastern borders. ये चीजें बहुत कम हैं. And so this is what I feel insofar as border guarding forces are concerned. In case of internal security duties also, we need to exercise, we need to relearn, learn our training methodology, we redo our training, and use of minimum force has to be inculcated. Force, of course, can be used. Right to private defense remains there. And number two, we need to strengthen our junior leadership. The SOPs should not be a binding factor. The junior commander should be able to operate in accordance with the prevailing situation that he is confronted with. If we keep imposing SOPs and start asking him questions ke ye SOP aise kyun nahi follow kari, so that will not happen. So we will keep getting setbacks. In a situation of an encounter on the border where 3-4 jawans are deployed faced with border criminals, if he keeps seeking orders from his higher bosses, bahut der ho jayegi. So that should not happen. He should be empowered, he should be trained in the manner that he takes decisions readily on ground. So that has to be done. For next 30-40 years, I don't see our problem subsiding. Maoist problem hai, Kashmir problem hai, Northeast is remains a problem because it is not fully settled. There is some ceasefire agreement or whatever it is called. So all those problems have to be resolved by the government. Till then, the security forces will have to operate in the manner that they are operating presently. But slowly and steadily, we political level, we need to resolve these issues. At our level, we need to change our approach to dealing with these problems and train our troops accordingly.
And so the graph of the importance of the CAPFs, do you see it rising or declining?
The CAPF are important. See, we are combined strength of CAPF is almost as much as the Indian Army.
Yes, sir.
So, and we are required everywhere. Election होते हैं वहाँ में चाहिए, Maoist area में चाहिए, कहीं भी कोई trouble spot होता है, CAPFs are immediately called up. So CAPF will remain important in the security matrix of the country. Because army cannot be deployed in every internal security situation. So the importance of CAPF will remain as it is for at least in the middle run, at least for next 40-50 years. It is not going to go away.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. With this, we come to the end of the session. I thank all the viewers, especially to Sanjeev sir for giving us his valuable time. It was a real honor to host you, sir, and we look forward to have your guidance and blessings in near future too.
Thank you so much for having called me here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Jai Hind to all.
Yeah.